Katie, do I sound more, I don't know, ergonomic? Do I sound perhaps like I'm, just passively developing my core strength?
It sounds to me like you are going to be very uncomfortable in the next
Do
couple
I?
of days.
Fuck no! I might not have been this comfortable my entire life, Katie. I don't know how to explain this to you. Does it sound as though I am like swiveling around, despite the fact that I shouldn't be able to maintain balance right now, and I'm just like doing the Macarena on top of a stool without holding on to anything? And I feel like I should be falling over, but I'm definitely not.
Okay,
If I fall on my ass while recording, that would be hilarious. Because if you could see me, I'm like almost like leaning over at a 90-degree angle on a stool that just doesn't fall over.
What on earth is this? What is this?
So, because of the global pandemic, well, now we dated this. Oh, no, we are releasing this one this week, right?
Yeah.
Because of the global pandemic, work from home, right? Like many people, that's what I'm having to do.
That's the thing.
And so I'm using like my old computer chair, which is fine, but like, my office chair is like a really nice one. It's like, feels really good. I've got a stand-up desk at the office. I ain't got none of that shit here, so I'm making do. And so I thought, well, we don't know how long this is going to last. I may as well just, go get myself a new chair. Mm-hmm. And then I'm like, well, there are these things that I've been seeing for a long time, like ergonomic stools, like work stools, and they're just meant to, it's a stool, it doesn't have a back to it. And it's just meant to make you sit in a way where you're more conscious of your posture.
Uh-huh.
So your core has to be engaged, and the bottom of the stool, I don't know how to describe it. It looks like a cushion or like a pad, but it's very firm. The texture of it, it's like rubber. It's very grippy. It's almost like a car tire at the bottom, and it's sort of rounded. So when you sit on it, you feel like you're kind of sitting on a ball, like almost like a medicine ball, kind of.
Okay, I Googled it. I know this is going to help nobody
that you Googled it.
Yeah, but it kind of reminds me of like Sonic the Hedgehog bouncy things.
You know like the things that you bounce off of.
Yeah.
Yeah,
just
sort
like
of.
That.
Yeah.
Except on both ends. But it
kind of
wobbles. Okay.
And it does that. And I gotta tell you, like, it's oddly comfortable. Like, it's weird that I don't have any back support, and yet it kind of, I don't know, it's just, I'm sitting in a way where, if I'm sitting in my normal chair, like, my back starts to hurt, my lower back will start to hurt after a certain amount of time, which is why standing at work is really kind of helpful, but this feels just oddly better. Like, it's a better way to sit.
No offense, but I pray to God that at one point we'll just hear you tumble. just because it'd be funny. Like, not to say like your purchase is stupid. Just, it would be fun.
First of all, how dare you? But second of all, I completely agree with you, and I don't know. I mean, for the comedic value alone, it would be hilarious.
Wow. I mean, here's the thing. I hunch, so like this wouldn't work for me. I would just be on this thing and then hunching, and then like my shoulders would still be awful. So
it's kind of hard to hunch. I don't know how to explain it. Like, it's just, yeah.
I don't know. I have doubts. I'll find a way.
Katie, it feels like this chair is from the future and scientifically advanced, and it feels like this stool, came from another galaxy.
Okay, there. I was wondering how you were going to do that.
How's that for a transition?
It was beautiful. I cried.
It's wonderful.
Laughed. Yeah, so we're going a little bit out of order. We're doing companion reviews today. We're going a little bit out of order, mostly because I have somewhere to be. Well, mostly my husband has somewhere to be, and we're home sharing, and he needs the computer. So
and also, I said I've been on a major Andromeda kick at this point anyway, and so I won't shut up about Andromeda. I kind of wanted to do some sort of episode on it, and so hey, why not? Let's do the squad review.
I think honestly, at least talking for myself, I'm a little afraid of doing Emmy too because there's so many people to talk about.
There's a bunch, no doubt.
So many. Yeah. Also, I've never had Kasumi, so because that'll just be you talking anyway.
Oh, poor Kasumi.
Hey, I mean, here's okay. That's a whole nother story for when we do Emmy too. We're doing Andromeda today, so and I think that kind of fits because we did Dragon Age 2 recently, and that's kind of the redheaded stepchild of Dragon Age, and now this is the redheaded stepchild of Mass Effect. So something there, some connection. Let's start. Now you have the spreadsheet open, right?
I do have the spreadsheet open, and if you need the link, I can send it again.
No, I'm gonna just sit here passively, and you tell me what to do, because that way I can be surprised at the scores at the end.
Okay, very good. So I guess let's just go down the list that you actually put together. We'll just go in that particular order, I suppose.
Knowing me, that was probably the order that was on the wiki in the squad unit.
I mean, that totally works. All right, so let's jump into it. First up, Korra, everyone's favorite Asari. I mean, sorry, yeah. No. Come on, let's be nice to Korra. It's funny because I just mentioned this on a live stream that we did today. Even though when people listen to this, it'll be a week old. That Korra, I guess I'll start right because I'm also reading again the fantastic N.K. Jemisin, Mac Walters novel, Mass Effect Initiation, which does serve as a prequel. So there's technically 2 prequel novels to Andromeda. Mm-hmm. There's Nexus Uprising, and then there's Initiation. Initiation, I think, is actually really good. I think it does Korra's character a lot more justice overall. I think it actually goes to show some of the struggles that biotics face because she makes a comment in the game about how, like, you know, people are uncomfortable around biotics, etc. And I think that if you're looking at just the games, that comment feels kind of hollow because in the original trilogy, you're around like the military and biotics are a little more normalized in that setting because of their usefulness in combat. But Korra having been some military and some civilian life, you know, the book kind of shows a little bit more of her struggles with being one of these super powerful humans who trained with Asari. Mm. I don't think a lot of that really comes through in the game as well. I think in the game, sometimes she, even though I really don't think she is, I think on the surface level, she comes off a little bit one note and a little bit like the mom character of the group, but not, normally when people say the mom character, they mean that in like a sweet, endearing way. This is just more kind of, she comes off a little bit finger waggy and, especially towards Drac and Peebee, like she doesn't really get along with them. So,
yeah, no, I agree. What's our first category, by the way? What's the?
So let's start with character overall.
Okay, so I agree with you. I guess I'm trying to think of my own feelings on her, and like for me, she was just kind of there. Like I honestly, and I know I've said this before, thought there was going to be something weird with her and your dad at the beginning of the game. And, like, for the entire game, I was like, when is she going to tell us she had a huge crush on her dad? And this is going to get really awkward. Or, like, they were sleeping together or something. When that wasn't the case at all. just because of how she talked about him. And I don't know if that was direction or what. Something about it came off less father-daughter and more like, oh, Alec, you know?
she was really in awe of him and sort of like in the game she just feels very like obsessed with him in a way, but almost like in a heroic sense, like she's deifying the guy, but it does get a little bit borderline, like does she have a creepy crush on him?
Yeah, so that was kind of, so I guess my overall thing with Korra is that, like, I think her, like, the building blocks, and maybe this is where the book comes in, are actually good. Like, I like the fact that, you know, she maybe identifies more with the Asari Commando stuff. She likes plants and stuff. Like, she kind of has an edge to her. I like that building block, but the way it was done in the game, it just kind of left me confused, which is probably going to be how I'm going to describing a lot of these characters. Yeah, I guess to try to put a number on it. So it's 1 out of 7. I would probably go like I'm feeling a comfortable 3 right now.
Okay.
But just because, like, I feel like any fondness I have towards her was stuff that I assumed and wasn't technically there in the game, if that makes any sense.
I think that makes perfect sense, actually. Yeah, and it goes to why when you read the book, you never read that book, right?
Yeah, I have not, no.
Yeah, when I read it, I was like, oh, this is exactly like the same sort of thing. Like, this is what I kind of thought was there for Korra, but they never actually show it very well in the game.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Which is kind of sad, because I feel like that's a lot of these characters.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah.
So you're going 3, right? So you said 3?
Yeah, I'm going 3.
Okay, so we'll go through. You're going 3, and I'll tell you what. I think I'm gonna go with the 4. But let me talk about some of the things that I like about Korra, because I really just kind of focused on some of the rough points. You're right. You kind of mentioned the fact that like she has this thing about like she likes plants, but she has this thing where you have like a sort of a mini side quest, and it's not just if you're romancing her. It's along the friendship plot line as well, where she wants to start a garden in Eos. Mm-hmm. And, like, it's one of those things where, like, Eos, even with the Vault activated, is still kind of being terraformed. It's a desert planet. It's not really going to grow. So you're not really starting a garden. You're sort of seeding the soil to sort of start terraforming it. And it's a somewhat repeated trope or theme in Andromeda, but it's one of, I know this isn't really going to be ready now, but I came here to build something not just for myself, but for future generations. And so this is really important to me. And in particular with Korra, like, I feel like she is a character that's very much about duty and sort of doing what's asked of her. That's not a lot of times that's not a very exciting character trait to play up in drama. Like, she gets passed over for being the Pathfinder, even though clearly she's Alec Ryder's second in command. The official protocol is that if something happens to Alec Ryder, she is supposed to be the backup, and Sam is supposed to transfer to her. And that totally doesn't happen. And that could be a major point of friction, and it actually would have made the drama of the story overall a lot better. Mm-hmm. But her character, I think, is really sort of built from the standpoint of she follows orders. Like, she does what she's supposed to. And if Alec Ryder wanted his son or daughter to be the Pathfinder, that's what she's going to accept.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I give her credit for being that sort of duty-driven character. I think it is interesting. It's just you have to look at her a lot longer to really, I think, appreciate that. Yeah. Fun fact also, we learned this in the book. We did not know this anywhere else. It was kind of an interesting thing. The reason why she cannot be the Pathfinder and the reason why she could not take Alec Ryder's place is because when Alec Ryder lifted the restraints that the Andromeda Initiative was supposed to keep on the AIs, because Alec Ryder modified, because there's 4 Sams, right? There's a different version of Sam for each of the Pathfinders, but Alec Ryder's is the original, and he took the restraints off, and that allowed it to basically learn more from being merged with him in the implant and his DNA, but it also became like linked with his DNA. And so part of the plot of the book is Alec Ryder creating like a partition of Sam, like a miniature Sam that goes with Korra, and it works, but it starts to like drive her crazy or something. Like, it starts going way up. That partition Sam starts going crazy, and it starts having a bunch of weird effects on Korra. Mm-hmm. And it's determined at the end of Alec Ryder determines at the end of the book that he has a problem, because if something were to happen to him and Sam passed to Korra, that it would end up killing her.
Yeah, that would have been nice to know in the game.
That would have been huge to know, because otherwise it seems really hand-wavy and, what's the word? Nepotism. It's like nepotism that he just gives it to his kid, when in reality, there's even a line in the book where he's like, he's really concerned because he thinks his kids aren't ready. He's like, I need to be really careful, because if something happens, they're not going to be ready to take on this responsibility.
Yeah, that would have been nice to know. Wow, okay.
It would have been really nice to know.
Man, I feel like every time we come back to Andromeda, we just have to be like, why?
Yeah, I know.
It was there. It was all there.
Time and budget. Like, it goes back to that thing of like they had what they wanted to do, and then they had what they had to scramble to get done in the last 18 months. So
here's a pitch from the team from the future that they don't care about. Get rid of all of PB and just put all of that work back into Korra.
Yeah, to strengthen up Korra.
Yeah.
Okay, so we got a 3 and a 4 overall. Romance. Do you have any thoughts on that, or?
So I did not romance Korra because I played a lady. But I did watch all the romances. Sorry, I have the hiccups. And I have to say, and this is going to be a weird thing, she has probably the best animated romance scene in anything BioWare.
Just the scene is an 8 out of 7. I mean, let me tell you.
like sexuality aside, like, wow, they did a really good, like, it looked like they were kissing for once, you know? Like, it wasn't just kind of like normally I feel like BioWare kissing is put at an angle so you can't see the lips, and they just, like, focus on the lips, like, just saying, like, look what we did. Look what you did, you horny fuckers. Look at it.
In a totally non-sexual way, just a Bioware developer's going, look at it.
Point your face and like, you see we got bad lip animations? Check these
We
suckers
did so
out.
good. This is what all the crunch was for. Jason Schreier don't write about that. This is the result. Just Casey Hudson in a room alone by himself.
Oh no, we can't. We can't.
Fucking Mac Walters accidentally walks in and he's like, oh, okay, never mind.
No, he's like, oh, okay, all right. No. Oh boy, we went to a place, didn't we, huh?
Oh, we sure did. No, seriously, it is the best animated digital and video game kiss ever, which sounds really weird to say because I don't think we are personally talking about it from the standpoint of it being titillating. It's just it's always been like, like a kid, whacking two puppets together when they do these sort of scenes before, and so you're just like, oh, from a technical standpoint, how come Addison's face was tired? Like, how did all this other stuff happen?
Yeah. And then that's on honestly well put together scene. Like technically. Now this has nothing to do with her romance, but yeah, I think we should just like whatever team had to animate that, you get an 8 out of 10. Happy birthday. I hope you have a good job, son. Cuz you did very well. Now what does it have to do about her romance? I don't know anything else about a romance, so I almost feel like I should forego judging. Because I feel like I feel like I can remember bits of the others. Hers, all I remember was the well-animated lips. That's it.
That's exactly right. And that is somewhat of a problem. I'll tell you what I think about Korra's romance. Even though I think that it is endearing, and I think that in particular, when you take a character like Korra and you sort of start to open her up to a more personal, intimate storyline, I think it works well. I think when you romance Miranda, she still feels oddly cold in Mass Effect 2, which is kind of weird, but I guess it's Miranda, so she's consistent. Whereas Korra does sort of she starts to seem kind of sweet and sort of like more opened up emotionally, which is nice. But it's kind of like by the time you sort of complete the storyline, so to speak, the romance storyline with Korra, and like you go up to talk to her on the Tempest or whatever, she has like a slightly different greeting, rather than just saying, hey, Ryder, or whatever. She's like, oh, like, it's always nice to see you, or something like that. And it just feels like a weird sort of like beginning of a relationship where people are going to date for 3 months and then just go, well, that was fun. That's kind of what it feels like. Like, they're not really that into each other. That's kind of the vibe that I get from it. And overall, it just seems kind of sweet and kind of nice, but it definitely doesn't seem stand out as far as big emotional hits. So I'm going to give it a 3.
Okay. I'm going to forego because I feel like I can't say anything other than maybe for my score, just write lips, and I'm lips out of 7.
Yeah, I don't know what that's going to do to the Excel formula. 3 plus lips.
It might not be okay with that, to be quite honest.
3 plus lips. Okay. All right. So next up, let's talk about playability. And I thought about this in advance. I did not realize we were going to do the Andromeda episode today, but I thought about this in advance, and I got to tell you, we can just save time. This is going to be a short episode.
Okay.
You want to know what I give every single one of them on playability? I give them a 2.
Every one of them?
Every single companion a 2. Every single one of them. There's no difference. And the only reason why I don't give them a 1 is because sometimes accidentally they can be useful. The companions in Andromeda are hands down the worst as far as playability. They made it. Oh no, sorry. Go ahead. Because
I was just gonna say, like, now that I think about it, I only remember killing everything, and then I was like, what? What are they doing? Oh, they're just kind of whacking a wall over there. All right, have fun, you crazy kids.
Or they're dead. They're not dead, but they're knocked out, and you don't even realize until the fight's over.
Yeah. Yeah.
Andromeda, they made a very big mistake. And this is one of the things that I think, as much as I can sort of stand for Andromeda and stick up for it, when they took away the pause, and when they took, you don't even necessarily have to keep pause, but you have to be able to give specific commands to the squad mates. Because if you remember pre-launch for Andromeda, what everyone said was it's going to be an intelligent command. So when you press the button to send Liam or Cora to attack, they're going to automatically check if they have a power that's available, that's not on cooldown. And if you have primed an enemy, because in Mass Effect it's always about priming and detonating combos. One attack primes, the other one detonates, and it's a big explosion, like with biotics, for instance.
Mm-hmm.
If you've already primed the enemy, they will intelligently know that if they have a power that's a detonator and it's not on cooldown, they'll use that power. And if you haven't primed an enemy and they have a power that's a primer and not on cooldown, they'll use that first. And I'm like, well, I mean, that sounds like a pretty good substitute for being able to issue individual power commands to them, except for the problem that it never fucking works. And when I say that it never works, I mean, I don't think it's worked once. And I've played 450 hours of Andromeda, and I don't think that they have ever gone through that logic check successfully one time.
Yeah, no, I just because I know that you play on harder difficulties, but just saying, like, what would you say that is true against all difficulties that you've played?
Yes. Now, I will say, yes, I would say it's completely true. The AI is not good. Sometimes they take a long time to move. They take a long time to shoot. They take a long time to get into cover when they're being shot. They don't really use powers effectively. I know that the powers are not on cooldown because I'll use it right when we start the fight. Like, I'll try and get PB. I'll start commanding her to attack right away, and she'll just shoot her stupid pistol, run around, move, get shot, move out of cover for some reason, stand there and get shot, move back into cover, and then, like, eventually later on in the fight, she'll use a power. And so I've detonated combos with them sort of naturally using their power, but I've never had it be like crisp and clean. I issued a command, they used a power, I detonated it, and or furthermore, gotten the two companions to work together to detonate stuff. I've never gotten it to work.
Yeah, I've only played Andromeda to completion once. And then, like, I tried again, that was the whole thing. But, like, my memory of all the companions with playing it is honestly, like, they're there because they want to hear the banter, and then I just kill everything.
Yeah, that's actually a pretty good summary, because the Nomad Squad banter is great.
Yeah, that's a lot of fun. But, yeah, I guess, so you're putting it, like, are you actually going to just put 2 across the board?
I am legitimately going to put 2 across the board, and I have a caveat, so that way the episode's not too short.
All right.
Here's why I'm giving them a 2 across the board.
Okay.
Because they are legitimately crap in vanilla. But here's the thing. There are mods, thank God. And for the last few times, I really only play with them with mods. And when you use... There's actually a couple of different ones that try and boost them up a little bit. And I will say that if you just give them a bunch of health, and if you up their weapon damage a ton, they're still pretty dumb. You can't. Nobody's going in and rewriting the squad mate AI. So the power, the intelligent power selection still doesn't work. They still move in and out of cover with no real rhyme or reason. All that stuff. But if they have a bunch of health, like way too much health normally, eventually they're going to use their powers and they're going to start helping, and they're going to be kind of cool. So, Drac has an ability where he starts berserking, blah, blah, blah. Vetra has her power armor, or this ability where she way overcharges her gun. Mm-hmm. All of that stuff is actually kind of cool when they survive long enough to use it. So I will say then, for Cora, with mods, and she can actually survive, her charge ability, super fucking cool. Because especially when you upgrade it to have the lowest cooldown possible, it's awesome. She can actually start, like, charging across the map to 2 or 3 or 4 enemies fairly quickly, and it looks really impressive. If you're a biotic and you use lift a lot, she will actually start to, like, charge up into the air to detonate your combos. She can start to be useful, but again, none of this counts without mods, and so I think I should rate it without mods.
I would agree. I rate it without mods. I feel like this is just going to be like for the rest of them, we're like, their abilities were cool, but still a 2. I honestly, I'm gonna... Here's the thing, like, hearing your thing in my memory of it, I almost want to go a 1. Because, like, at that point, it's like, what's the point? Why even have them? It would be, like, you're just walking... Maybe a walking shield that isn't always doing your job anyway. So I guess I would say 1.
Ooh, okay.
But yeah. So put me one across the board, and if I jog my memory of something, maybe. Because I'm like in the Mass Effect, the other like the main trilogy, like I have distinct memories of like Tally, like having a cool like she has the name for it, the little bot that she puts out.
The drone.
Forgot what it is. Yeah, the drone that she puts, and like the drone being useful, and like Garrus having the sniper being like they have useful abilities. Where here, like I can't remember a single ability they have. None of it. And I played it more recently. I played Mass Effect before I got married,
Yeah.
Andromeda was only like 2 years ago or something.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I guess that's my reasoning. Okay, so what's the next one?
Let's talk about her execution. So we can talk about dialogue, writing specifically, and acting.
The acting, I'm going to start with acting because I have no problems with her voice, but I also have like, it's just kind of there. It's like, oh, okay, it works. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I really don't have any like, and it's one of those like I don't know if it's the actor or just like the what was she was given. Like I don't want to say the actor did a terrible job or she was boring because like I also don't think she was given material to like work with. So that's one thing. Overall execution, I'm probably gonna do pretty poorly because like we talked about this a lot on the most recent stream. Where like we both hate her design, and like I want to be clear on this because a lot of people are like, oh, you just don't like her because she has a butch haircut. No, it is not. It is not that she has a butch haircut, and it's not that she's what did someone put it in the chat like, stop messing with the cis straight lady that has a butch haircut, like that can be a thing. I'm like, yeah, it can be a thing. But the haircut's still stupid, and
right.
it's not so much the fact that she has a shaved side and it like the actual whatever, but it's the actual style. It's like she went to Supercuts and asked for a cool haircut.
That's right. That's exactly it. It's the quality of the execution on the haircut.
Yeah, she could have the exact same like form of haircut, but it's styled differently and work a whole lot better.
Yes.
And like the something about like really the whole female face modeling of this game, like not like it's okay. I love weird looking women. I think Tilda Swinton is great and we all need to look like her. And she looks like an alien. You know what I mean? So I don't want them to look like supermodels. I just want to look them like the Sarah Ryder, Cora, PB. They all just look like they crawled out of the uncanny valley.
Yep.
And that's why I don't like any of them like look wise, just because they look weird.
Right.
And it's not because like, oh, women have to be beautiful. No, they just look like they look creepy.
Yeah,
I have nightmares.
It looks like something that someone would not have honestly done on purpose.
Yeah.
That's what it is. It's not, oh, this is a drawing of a woman who's not considered like whatever, like a supermodel beauty. It looks like a drawing where you kind of like did the line crooked on accident. Like, are you sure you meant to do that?
Yeah, exactly. And I will also say, just as a really quick aside, seeing her concept art where she was a brunette and then she gets turned into a blonde just makes me so sad inside. Jordan, can you name me one brunette, a woman with brown hair on any of the main cast in Dragon Age or Mass Effect?
Wait, what?
Just name a brunette on like the main cast, because I can't. There's no, in the Dragon Age series, someone with brown hair, not black. There's no one in the main cast in Dragon Age.
Oh, sorry, I was going to say Cassandra, but she's got black hair.
She's got black hair.
And Liliana's red.
Yeah. Red, black, or blonde. There's no brunettes. And someone who's a brunette, myself.
Aveline's kind of like a blonde. She's blonde.
Oh, Aveline's red.
Oh, she's red. That's right.
Yeah.
Okay. Ashley is
brown or black. I think she's black at least.
Yeah.
Black hair. Miranda, black.
No, Miranda's
Jack?
brunette.
Huh?
Miranda's got like a dark brown hair.
I always thought it was black. Now, I will say Jack. Jack has brown hair, doesn't she?
Well, Jack's bald mostly.
Well, and then the second one, yeah. But I think in the third game she has a brown ponytail.
You're right. So there you go. But
we got Jack.
That's all we got.
Well, I'm saying there's not a lot of us.
I will let you know again. I mean, this is with mods. Not I'm trying to rate without mods, but I now have a brunette Cora in my most recent run. She looks great, by the way.
I'm just saying, BioWare, stop taking away my girls. We don't have much of. I know it's a boring hair color. I get it. I have to live with it too. But come on.
So what are you giving blonde Cora on execution?
Cora. Oh, right. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go a 2 because it's not as bad as it could been. But I'm like, it's just, I think, fell flat.
Yeah. I'm giving it a 3. I just think she's remarkably forgettable in the overall performance. Granted, that is partially because, because of the writing is not necessarily standout. They don't really give her enough idiosyncrasies that are sort of on the page and up front to be delivered upon. But the overall performance, it lands in the same place a lot of the times, and I just think it's lackluster. So I'm going to 3.
Yep. I think we just spent like 30 minutes talking about your stool and Cora, so we
we gotta pick up the pace. Okay, well, let's quickly go through Liam then.
Liam, huh? So, okay, of the 2 squad mates that you start with, I think like I like him more, but I still think he is completely incompetent.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't know. I feel like every time he was trying to do something, I'm like, well, why? Why are you shirtless? Why did you think, like, why? Why are you doing these things? Like, I think he had here's the thing, though. I think he's actually a fine character. Like, if he was plopped in and put somewhere else, I think he could have worked. But because everyone kind of seems like dingbats on this whole crew, it was just like another one. So, I don't know. What's the first one that we do? It's not execution. It's
character, just kind of concept overall.
Yeah, I guess I would go. I'm in between a 3 or a 4. I might go 3. I think I'll go 3 just because, like, just with everybody else, I just think he's really silly. I think if you're going to have a character who's a bit of a dingbat, that's fine. But then, like, everybody was.
Yeah,
everybody
really were.
Everybody had those things.
I think you're being generous. I'm going to give him a 2.
That's fine.
I think there's the one scene where he stays with Ryder right after the opening mission in Sam Node, and he goes to check on your twin, and he says some nice things about your father. I made a whole video about it called The Reason Why Liam Stays with Ryder in the Sam Node, and I think that's his finest moment. I think there's another moment after you do his loyalty quest where he sort of gets a soccer game together on Eos between the Angarans and the Andromeda Initiative. Mm-hmm. And it's not great, and I don't feel that you ever get to teach Liam that he is an idiot quite as much as you need to, but that moment is the closest moment to him admitting that he messed up with his loyalty mission.
You know what I just realized? He's Sarah in this game, or tries to be. But
kind of.
Because, like, Sarah's whole thing in the Inquisition was she was like, well, Inky, you're getting kind of, like, scary. You need to be, like, more relatable with the little people. We gotta boost up morale. And, like, his thing is boost up morale. So I feel like he's trying to be, like, the one, like, the glue of the group kind of thing. And it doesn't work because everything just seems so accidental. Where when Sarah does things and it's accidental, that's, like, her thing, and she's very aware of it. Where, like, Liam is, like, trying to plan things. He does do planning. And then it falls apart or whatever. Or, like the movie night, you have to do everything. Whereas Sarah's like, I don't know, I just woke up and put bees down her pants. I don't know.
Uh-huh.
So it works for Sarah. Where Liam, it just seems like he just can't plan anything.
Very interesting. Yeah, because a lot of people say PB is Sarah, which I actually disagree with. And you're right. I think actually Liam is probably closer to Sarah. But other than those two scenes, I think that Liam is not a very good character. I don't think he's a good character. I think he's actually a bad character concept. I think that he's unclear, he's vague. The things that he cares about, he kind of ends up hurting in a lot of weird ways. And I understand that's somewhat intentional, but there's just never enough emotional payoff for him. He just kind of seems like he's getting in the way without ever being as endearing as he should have been.
Maybe that's where my 3's coming from, or rather than your score. Because, like, I feel like there was a good setup there. But yeah, there is no payoff where he learns, like, oh, I'm dumb. Oh, no. Oh, I can't even plan a movie night. Okay. So, he definitely needed, like, that grow up moment where he's, like, able to do it. Maybe that was, like, I remember his loyalty mission being fun, but I remember just being a whole disaster. Is there any point where, like, something goes right because he did something, or is it all just downhill?
No, I mean, not really. You're right. Like, that's putting together a soccer game is really about the height of his character arc.
Yeah, so yeah, he needed that moment where he's able to pull off something competent, and you're like, oh, okay, you can do things, you just don't. So
Yeah.
here is no, you just don't. Okay, so anyway, now he has a romance, where I don't know. I didn't play through it. Again, I just watched it. This one I remember a little bit more because, like, you know, it's like, oh, we're going to do jetpacks and you write things in the sky and it'll be all, like, fun. It's like an adventure. It seemed like they wanted to have, like, he's the Cullen. He's the safe option, you know, and
right.
therefore he's the safe, boring option. You know?
I agree with that. Again, I've not played it, but I have watched bits of it, and it does feel a little bit like pretty much exactly what you just said. But like the rest of Liam, I feel like it's still frickin' Liam, and it's still, to me, like such a barrier to sort of role play someone who would actually be attracted to Liam. Because Liam just seems like, good lord, he seems like maybe someone's high school boyfriend, but like...
Oh my god, he's the high school boyfriend.
You know, but even Ryder at 22 should be out of that phase.
Oh my god.
I'm giving him a 3, so I'm just going to give him a 3.
He's a 22-year-old that thinks he's in high school too. Oh my god. You nailed it, Jordan. He's the guy in your senior year of college, or you know, he's doing whatever, going, I was the quarterback of my high school team.
Yeah.
Did you know that?
Yeah.
Did you know that?
Let's have a soccer game and give away classified intel.
Oh my god.
So I'm gonna give him a 3 on romance. What do you say for romance rating?
I'm gonna give him a 2. Not that okay. I think it's good to have a boring option, like Cullen and Alistair, Sebastian, I guess. But here's the thing that all of those actually had in Dragon Age, because I'm comparing Dragon Age because that's what I know best. They all had a little thing where it wasn't necessarily a threat in the relationship, but a threat to the significant other's like mental stability. Where one, it was, I have to become king, and then the whole thing with my sister, and that really sucks, or Cullen's lyrium addiction, or should I go back to my home country and be prince, or should I, you know, stay with the chantry? Like, there was something that you needed to help them work out. And there is something, and it's ingrained in a lot of women. Maybe I'm one of them, but like, just, yeah, he like healing the boyfriend type of thing. He doesn't have anything like that. So there's not that, well, like, oh, I gotta heal his heart.
You gotta heal him from being stupid.
Yeah, I gotta heal from being stupid. We don't even get that luxury.
No.
So like, there's nothing to like bond over, or like, there's really nothing like, it's just, we're like Cullen or like Alistair is like a nice sweet cinnamon roll. Liam is just sugar. You know?
Oh, yeah, you're right.
It's just sugar. And, like, some people just want sugar, and that's fine, and that's your cup of tea, but it's just, like, there's no substance there. There's no taste. It's just...
God, you're so right. God damn it. I'm going to give him a 2. I'm going... because you're right. It's almost like the worst type of, like, cheap romance novel of, like... No, not even that. Cheap romance novels are better, because at least they're dangerous sometimes, or, like, there's something wrong with the guy.
Or they're, like, weirdly devoted.
Yeah, Liam is literally he's just meant to be nice to you. He likes Ryder, and that's it.
He's your high school boyfriend who doesn't know how to deal with women.
Jesus Christ. Okay, so he's getting a 2. I have really nothing to say about playability that I didn't already. It's the exact same thing.
Yeah.
If he survives long enough, that grenade that he has is really powerful. That's it.
Yeah.
So we'll stick with me giving him a 2. You giving him a 1.
Sounds good.
Playability. Execution, I'm going to... Jesus Christ. I've thought about this in advance too, and I've given this a lot of consideration, and I gave it so much consideration I actually went back to the spreadsheet to check, because I'm going to tee off on Liam. He gets a 1.
Ooh, okay.
And I've never given a 1 for anything.
Anything?
I gave Zevran a 1. Jeez, did I really give Zevran a 1 overall in character? I sure did.
See, you did Zevran dirty.
I did Zevran dirty. I did.
You did Zevran dirty.
I gave Zevran a 1 overall for character, but I've never given a 1 for execution. And the reason for that is because, generally speaking, you know, I like actors, and I like acting, and I like to give everybody the benefit of the doubt when it comes to the acting. I just think that Liam's performance, with all due respect to the person, maybe they're brilliant in other roles that they've had in their career, I thought it sucked. I thought Liam was bad as far as the acting was concerned. Every time I play the game, I'm the world's biggest Andromeda apologist, but with the exception of that one scene in Sam Node, I can't stand hearing him talk. He sounds like a guy they got off the street. I know that sounds like rough and harsh to say. Maybe that's what was asked of him for some reason. They were trying to go for something super naturalistic and like, we don't want you to sound like an actor kind of thing, but I thought it fell completely flat-faced. It's my least favorite acting performance in any BioWare game.
Wow. Okay.
I think it's really bad.
Here's the thing. I'm not going to completely disagree with you. Because I think he does sound like kind of bored and like over there half the time. Like like I feel like, again, maybe this is just because there wasn't a lot of direction, whatever. So I don't want to like. There's a whole bunch of pieces to the puzzle. But yeah, I feel like at least Cora emotes a little, like we know, because she has some connection with your father and all sorts of stuff. Where Liam's like, "Oh man, that sucks. Oh, that sucks. Hey, you want to get shirtless and call each other assholes? You know, like it's
so weird."
It was the weirdest scene. I will at least say that unlike Cora, he looks okay. Like, he looks fine. He doesn't look creepy. He looks like just a handsome young man.
That's true.
Like, so what did I give Cora again?
You gave Cora a 2.
Okay, I still might give Liam a 2. But it's almost like the opposite. Where, like, I'm not very fond of his performance, but I think he was designed all right. Where Cora's like, I'm okay with the performance, and I think he was designed terribly. So I feel like I need to, like, I have the same feelings, but flip-flop, so they deserve the same score.
Ditto.
That's where I'm coming from.
Okay.
I do think he does sound bored half the time, though.
So nothing really too out of the ordinary so far for Cora and Liam. Kind of what I expected, but I think we might start to see a little bit of a bright light here coming up next. Let's talk about Vetra.
Oh, Vetra.
Vetra... You know, I will say, I like Vetra. I think that Vetra is practical. She's one of the ones that actually seems like she has some experience on the squad. Mm-hmm. But I'm not as big on Vetra as other people. There's some people who frickin' love Vetra. They think she's the Garrus of this crew. And, I mean, not just because she's Turian. She's kind of supposed to be that sort of street smart character. I feel like she is... To me, it all kind of comes down to when she joins the crew, she just kind of invites herself. Like, you don't really get to recruit her onto the Tempest. She just kind of puts herself onto the crew. Mm-hmm. And a lot of the times, I feel like that's kind of what Vetra is. Like, she's cool. She has a cool design. She has cool armor. She has some funny lines. She is capable. She has some good banter with Drac. I can't say a lot of bad stuff about Vetra, but I do just kind of feel like if we took Vetra out of the story of Andromeda, what happens to the plot? Literally everything that happens to the plot. And you could actually say that about Liam as well, or Cora, or a few of them.
You can say that to everyone except for Jaal.
I don't... I mean, PB is really integral to sort of the beginning of unraveling the Remnant stuff. And
I guess.
Drac is really integral to the entire plotline with the Krogans.
I don't even remember that.
So I just, and also, I mean, you could at the very least say that, like, if Liam and Cora aren't there right at the beginning, I'm not saying that, you know, now we're sort of getting into stuff that wasn't actually written, but you could theorize that, like, I don't know, maybe writer doesn't make it off there without them in those specific plot moments.
But I feel like at the beginning you could have pulled a Jenkins and it could have been like, you know, 2 other random people.
Oh, that's true. That's actually really true.
Yeah, it's not so much that it's needed to be them. It could, like, someone just needed to be there. You know what I mean? Where like, I think PB, I'll admit PB, because she's weird with the technology. She has the weird, she is suited to just unhinge herself and go down some weird hole. That makes sense. Jaal is who Jaal is, you know, that kind of stuff. I don't remember Drax, so I can't speak with that.
I think that was the gist of her subplot with Kalinda, right? She unhooked herself and went down a weird hole. I think that's actually...
I mean, you're right.
Okay, I'm sorry. 8th grade humor.
There's gonna be someone in the chat who's like weirdly into Asari. I'm like, I'm sorry, you actually don't know Asari anatomy.
No, when they reproduce, they don't have to go down any holes. Okay, they embrace eternity. Okay.
They embrace eternity. God, no. Okay. Now that we've talked about PB's genitals, I would rather go anywhere else in this conversation.
Oh, you will be alarmed to know that there is actually a mod for that.
Oh, Jordan, you have to tell me these things. I was living my life so happy. I'm already in quarantine.
Wait, why did I have to tell you that? Did you see the mods that you made me live through in Dragon Age 2?
Okay, I deserve that then. Hey, I didn't give you the everyone has a boner mod in Origins. Be glad I didn't do that one.
That's such a terrible mod.
They had one for the ogre too, which I was like, wow, you modeled that. And they had a version for uncut and cut. Anyway, we're gonna skim by this now. Okay, back to Vetra. Poor Vetra.
I give Vetra a 3. That's what I'm giving her.
Okay. I think she deserves a 4.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Because there were only 3 people I liked on this whole crew. Vetra was one of them.
Okay.
I mean, well, no, I'm gonna stand by that. I was gonna say, like, I forgot about the ship people, but so I will. I want to give her some good numbers because I liked her. I liked bringing her with me. I thought she had good banter. Okay, maybe she wasn't integral to the plot, but like, I don't think she necessarily has to be. Which I also understand why, like, oh yeah, she just kind of invites herself on your ship, but like, yeah, that's really awkward, which is why she's getting a 4. But I think she has one of the better personal quests where you try to, like, she has a dumb kid sister, so you try to save her dumb kid sister. You know, that makes sense. You know, we can get to her romance in a bit because when I watched that was like, what? But anyway,
yep.
But yeah, she seems like she's not Garrus, but I think she maybe given more time and energy, maybe she could have gotten close. Like, there's a potential there that I can appreciate versus like PB will never be anything to anyone. I'm just gonna constantly crap on PB.
I know. I've learned to accept it.
Yeah. So I will give her a 4.
Okay. I appreciate the fact that you are gonna rep for Vetra a little bit here. Yeah. Do you want to just give the rating for her romance? You kind of touched on it a little bit.
Yeah. So her romance seems so out of character for me because she I feel like so there was 2 parts where they like, you know, do rock climbing and that seems all fun, but then she like buys you a steak. And then does it wrong, and then you have to like do that like weird 50s drama where you're like, oh honey, the steak is great, you know, right. What?
I thought it was weird. I thought that was kind of like a weird, like, emotional, I don't want to call it a climax, but that's the one thing that a lot of people reference as being really sweet and endearing.
Was it though?
No, it wasn't. It was weird, and it wasn't helped by the fact that like she's a Turian, and so it doesn't really animate well for her to grab things, and so the let's be honest, there weren't a lot of time and resources to do a lot of detail, so the steak just looks weird too, and I'm just like, that scene just played off as really sort of hokey and just sort of weird.
Yeah, it did. I don't even know how you would fix it, just because I don't like the. And as someone, like, I do most of the cooking in the house. And, like, when I make a bad meal, like, I don't get offended. Because, you know what I mean? Like,
right.
Where I'm just like, that didn't turn out well, did it? And Michael's very sweet, like, oh, no, it's fine. I'll eat it. Like, no, we'll get a pizza. It's all right. You know, like, it's in like, I don't remember her getting super defensive or anything like that for the scene. But that's such a weird, like, thing to do, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like, it's just very strange. It's almost, you know what? Maybe what bothers me about it, it's I'm gonna say inhuman, but what I really mean is like it's almost like an actual alien, not like an alien in fiction, but an alien that came down into Earth and be like, that seems like something people do for each other and might be funny. I'm going to write it. It's someone who doesn't understand. Like, it felt like someone who doesn't understand relationships writing
a little bit. I think so.
It felt like a computer wrote it in a way, and it was just kind of like it was just weird. it was just weird.
Yeah, I agree. I'm giving her a 3 on the romance.
Yeah, I'll go with that.
Okay, so we'll both go 3 on romance.
And here's, like, from what I saw, like, everything up until that point was fine, and then just, like, have it fall in on its face like that was just kind of sad, and so it just brought the whole thing down for me.
Yes. Playability, she's still getting a 2. The only thing I'll
Yes.
say is that with the one overcharge ability that she has with her gun, if you get it all the way up to the 6th rank, you can take disruptor ammo as the final upgrade, which means that she basically primes everybody for a tech combo because it's a fully automatic gun. That can be really sweet if you're a tech build and you can just start detonating a bunch of combos. Very fun.
Mm-hmm.
But again, she has to actually live long enough to have that happen.
And there you go.
Execution. I'm going to give her a 4. I thought it was competent. I thought it was solid. I think that the acting is good. It's not great or anything, but I love some of her scenes with Drac in the Nomad when they kind of talk and they talk about Sid and that sort of stuff. I thought the acting was just like good and strong, but nothing stand out. So I'll go 4.
Okay. So I'm torn. If I was... this is why I don't know if we should be rating this between everything in Andromeda or, like, the series in total. Because I feel like if we're doing it just in Andromeda, I would give her a 5 because I think her voice actor was really fun. But if this was, like, in the rest of the series, yeah, I would rate her lower. So
Whole series. I think it's got to be whole series.
Okay, we'll do a 4 then.
Okay.
We'll do 4. I do think she's probably my favorite female companion of this game. And, like, wherever I went, I was taking Vetra and Jaal. Vetra and Jaal was everywhere. So I will say I am sad, but I understand my...
Understandable. For me, it was Vetra and Drac, but I totally get where you're coming from. All right, PB. PB overall, I mean, I guess I'll let you go first since I know you have feelings about PB.
PB has... So, I'm trying to, like, PB is my least favorite anything of anything. But it's... What bothered me about her is that she's trying to have Sarah's personality, but then have Solas's job description. You know what I mean?
Oh, that's such a good description. Keep going.
She's trying to be flippant. She's like, oh, I just do all these things and they just work out. Isn't that amazing? But then, like, what she is doing is incredibly important to the core of the story and what's going on.
Yes.
And so you're just like, Phoebe, can you, like, snap out of whatever manic pixie dream girl you came from and just tell me what is going on right now? I don't know. Why don't you just, writer? You're so stick in the mud. Just have some fun. So it drove me nuts because she had a cool... If you take out her personality, the actual thing she does in the game is fine. But then the Sarah personality... And the thing with Sarah's personality is in the game, she has moments where she's like, I know, I'm kind of weird, and, like, I'm childish. I get it. Like, I know these things don't work out sometimes, so I understand if you're not into it. And then you can choose as the Inquisitor to, like, say, you are the worst, get out of here, or, like, look, I understand, you're 20. Like, we're all shitty 20-year-olds. I get it. Where this one is, like, how old is she supposed to be? Like, she's an Asari. She's hundreds of years old. Who knows?
Mm-hmm.
And she never, like, I feel like there are times when she gets close to those moments of clarity, and then she thinks, but maybe I shouldn't grow as a character, and then it just poofs away, and she never learns a thing. Everything's all hunky dory, and she gets to be PB because PB, and I just want to die. So, and the game forces you on her. You can't say no. You have to have PB because she's important to the story. Thanks. So,
what are you going on PB? What's the number for PB?
Oh, 1.
Oh,
1.
Jesus. Wow. What a punch. How dare you?
Wow. Why are you surprised? I was debating a 0.
Yeah. I shouldn't be surprised. Honestly, I don't know how I'm surprised. But, okay, PB. I'm going to go definitely higher than a 1. I like the concept of PB. I think that if anything, I'll probably hit her a lot more on the execution. But conceptually, you're right. Like she's an explorer. She's a researcher and an expert on remnants. She has attachment issues. It's not like the most groundbreaking thing in the world, but I sort of like having at least one person who, at least in theory, is not. How do I put it? Like okay, we know she's going to join the squad no matter what, just like everybody else in Andromeda, but at least from a fictional standpoint, there's something said for the fact that she kind of wants to leave, which I kind of appreciate in any companion. Someone who has a mission outside of your mission and is only there temporarily to sort of, have that coalesce.
But like, she only ever says she wants to leave.
It's true. That's true. I completely agree with you. I don't think it's great.
And, like, the whole time, like, while I was playing, she's like, I know, I can leave at any point. And I'm like, it's open. I'll push the button myself. I'll say, I'll give you money.
There's a great little tidbit in the team board or whatever, like the message board that they have on the Tempest, where Cora is like chiding people for not, they need to get their times down on the evacuation drills, and PB responds to her message with like, I live in the escape pod. Anyway, I'll give her a 3. It's not great, but I'll give her a 3. Romance-wise, do you have any thoughts?
See, I don't like PB at all, so everything's gonna be colored with that. But I don't think her romance was bad. Like, it was like she had some weird, like, she had a weird ex-girlfriend who was just as bad as she is. You have to go deal with that. But then, like, the ultimate climax is that she trusts someone enough to do the ultimate reality. Whatever a sorry mind meld you do. Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. It's workable. I think, if anything, it's probably one of the better female romances in this game. And I hate saying that, believe me. So, because I hate the personality and I hate the build-up, but I think it at least it's the opposite of Vetra, actually. It has the exact opposite of Vetra. What did I give Vetra?
You gave Vetra a 3.
I'll have to give her a 3, because it's the same thing but opposite.
Okay.
It's the same thing what I did with Cora, and I hate that I did that, but it's the truth.
Okay, so Phoebe gets a 3. I'm going to go with a 4 on her romance.
Okay.
I like the fact that she has a storyline about opening up. I appreciate the fact that, and this is going to sound maybe a little bit counterintuitive, but I appreciate the fact that you can have a casual relationship with PB and you can still, if you choose to, develop that into a serious relationship. I greatly appreciated what they did with Jack in Mass Effect 2, where if you enter into a casual physical relationship with Jack, that completely closes off the possibility of a serious relationship. That made sense for Jack, although I do think some people kind of rightly called out conceptually that's not always the case, right? You could start off with a casual relationship and have a serious one, and I appreciate that existed for PB. I think that her acting, maybe I should leave that in the execution section, is pretty good during those romance scenes. And I like the fact that she seems like she is changing as a character as a result of the romance. She has less trust issues as a result of that, so I'll give it a 4 overall for romance.
Yeah. Yeah, like, I stick with my number, but I'll agree to those points. So, Execution-wise, here's where I think I'm going to hit a little bit harder for PB. And it's not necessarily an acting thing so much as it is there are certain lines of dialogue that just make me think you did not read that out loud when you wrote it. Yeah. She just says things that are dorky and dumb, and it's supposed to be sort of like tongue-in-cheek cool almost. Like she knows that she's kind of weird and that's supposed to be like fun and bubbly, but she just comes off as really awkward and weird and like a person at a party who's trying too hard. Yeah. So because I didn't like the writing in particular, I'm going to give it a 2. I'm still going with a 1 because all the problems I talked about are still there.
Oh.
I will say at the very least, like, I think the voice actor did a fine job with what she was given. I just think she was given a steaming pile of poop. So that's that. But like, yeah, I think I'm just really frustrated with her too, because I think like the fact that she does remnant technology, she's an Asari with trust issues. She, the whole like weird escape pod, like there were some things there that were interesting, but they decided to make her character just like the manic pixie dream girl thing. And it just ruined everything. The personality they give her just ruined it all for me.
It's not great.
And, yeah, it's not good. And it's not that like I hate that type of personality, because I think it works again for Sarah, but it doesn't work for her because it doesn't make sense with a lot of what she is. And it almost just felt like two different people they just try to push together, and it doesn't work. and I hate it. It's a 1. The end. We can move on.
I will say, neither one of them is actually a manic pixie dream girl, though, right? Because doesn't that trope include like sort of like they don't give the male protagonist any difficulty, and I don't think both of them give the protagonist difficulty. I don't even know if that's the right way to define that trope. I thought that was one of the things.
I'm not like, I don't know much about tropes, but my idea was on the manic pixie dream girl was always just like, I'm not broken except I am, and I'm so quirky.
I think that's part of it. I think that part is very accurate.
Yeah, so that's where I'm coming from. If that's not completely accurate for her, that's at least that part that I just mentioned is what I mean.
For sure. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Drac next. Come on, fingers crossed. God damn it, Drac. Let's go. We need a win here.
He's fine. Drac is fine. Okay, I'll let you start with Drac.
Overall character. Good lord. I really got to think about this. Crap. Let me just talk through it a little bit before I go to the number.
Go for it.
The best scene with Drac is a scene where he is in the med bay with Lexi, and she is doing basically a diagnostic on him. I can't even call it a checkup because he's got an artificial lung and an artificial heart, and one of his arms is basically a prosthetic, and like part of his leg and back, like he's got pieces in him, man, and he's 1,200 plus years old. He's very old, even by Krogan standards. Krogan can live like 1,000 years plus, but he's over 1,200. He's fracking old, and he's not really slowing down. He's just beaten to crap. And Lexi very sweetly kind of like takes after him, right? Like almost like he's her dad or something like that. Like she really wants to look after him and make sure that he's okay. And she's telling Ryder, like, you need to look after him. Like, you're the leader here and you need to keep him in mind. And Drac's like, whatever, I'm fine. And you really sort of get a sense of how vulnerable he is. Not because he's acting not because he's really softening in that moment, because he's really not. He's just as gruff as ever. But you see the reality of more than a millennia of damage and battles and fights. And I feel like for all of the bravado and brusque of the Krogans, you don't see that. Like, here's the toll. Here's the physical toll of all those years of fighting. And then to really sort of hit the nail perfectly, he starts to talk about Kesh and sort of what she means to him and how she was like, I think like the way she was born, like she was sick or something like that when she was born, and the other Krogan were basically just gonna, survival of the fittest, right? Like, why even bother with this sort of runty Krogan baby? And so he took her and raised her, and he identifies with her because of that sort of underdog mentality that they both have. And so that vulnerability that he experiences is sort of, I feel like it was synergistic in the way that he talks about Kesh. That's maybe the best companion scene in the whole goddamn game. And I just feel that for a Krogan who is mostly about bashing things and killing Ket, there's depth to him that I really cared about. I love the fact that he's not trying to rule over a bunch of shit. He's like, yeah, whatever, Morda can be the leader of Clan Nakmor. I just want to kill Ket. He's not so power hungry the way some Krogan are throughout the series. There's probably a lot of filler material where he is just about killing shit and smashing stuff and sort of being a cantankerous old man. But I think that there are a couple of moments in there where I like him enough to say that he's better than just good. So I'm going to give him a 5.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll echo that actually. Because he's like, I feel like the team as it is needed someone who's capable. That's Drac. I think Jal has a good argument too, but Drac is definitely the most capable of all of them. Like he seems like he knows what he's talking about. And I like you just had this whole cool backstory about him and his him and Kesh. Is it granddaughter?
Yes, granddaughter.
Granddaughter Kesh. We haven't gone through any amount of backstory with anyone else because no one else has. Maybe Cora, but that's because you read the book,
right?
I think he has a lot of thought put in him, and it's actually in the game.
Yes,
which is huge.
Precisely, that always helps.
So yeah, I think he deserves a 5. I do think there were more moments of him just like pulling you aside and being like, "Look, kid, what you're doing, you gotta be a better leader. This isn't working out." Like you did kind of like the old man thing, like, "Look, I appreciate what you're doing." Maybe in a Drac way, not what I'm doing, but he needed, I think, to maybe like step up and like try to be like, your dad wouldn't do. You gotta. That I wish there was like one moment like that, but for what it is, I'll give him a 5.
I like that he calls you kid, and you can say, like, hey, I don't call me kid. And he doesn't get like, oh, well, I'm going to call you kid. He's like, sorry, I get into that habit. I'm 1,200 years old. He's really kind of nonchalant about the fact that he's clearly older and more experienced and would probably kick the shit out of Ryder in a one-on-one fight.
Oh, yeah.
But he's just really sort of like nonchalant. Like I said, he's a Krogan who's very powerful and very confident, but doesn't have an ego. Like, you could easily make the case that he should be the one running the Krogan clan in Andromeda. But he doesn't.
Yeah.
He just sort of lets it ride, and he just really wants to be out there on the battlefield. So, yeah. No romance for Drac, obviously. Playability, good lord. I will say that, you know what? I didn't think I was going to do this, but I'm going to take back my rating.
Okay.
Just because Drac is the closest thing to a tank that you can get, even on vanilla, I am going to give him a 3.
I'm going to keep my 1 because I didn't bring him out that often, so I can't really say. But
that's all I'll say for Drac. He is the closest thing to an actual tank, being the Krogan.
Execution.
Execution. I thought it was strong. It was good. I can't say that just the acting alone. Again, I think it merges with the overall concept, but there's nothing super standout other than that scene that I already talked about. I'm going to give him a 4.
I almost want to give him a 5 just because I like his armor design a lot, and I feel like that's not a good reason. So I'm gonna stick with the 4.
Okay.
But I really appreciate that they made a Krogan not look like every other Krogan because they just put bones on there because it looked cool. I appreciate that. I think his voice actor did a good job. Yeah, I'll stick with a 4, but he's good. I like him. He might actually be my favorite Krogan. I don't know. I'll have to replay the series before I really buckle down on that. So, Kitty Man.
Wait, does he look like a cat? Is that what people say about Jaal?
That's what people say about Jaal.
Oh, boy. I like Jaal a lot. Do you want to go first on Jaal, or should I?
Yeah, I'll go first. He was also my romance for the game.
Oh, fun.
Jaal is interesting. I think he's the most compelling character because he actually has a plot in the story. And I like the voice actor a lot. I think he's probably my favorite voice actor in this. But that's for later. The actual character, I think you worked. I think it's the best in the game. Like Jaal, I feel like I was playing for Jaal because I just want to know what happened to him and his story and his people. So I almost want to say a 6 actually.
Oh, watch out. Here we go.
Yeah, because he's someone who's trying to fight for his people. He really honestly cares. Like, I know there's supposed to be, like, highly emotional people or whatever, but, like, when he finds out the Ket are his people, he actually breaks down. I think that was, like, one of the better moments of Andromeda. I feel like all of the better moments of Andromeda in my head have him in it somewhere. Like, when during his personal quest, and he tries to get in front of, like, I forget what even the setup was, but, like, he ends up getting shot by one of his quote-unquote brothers, like one of his people, and he's okay. And, like, for the rest of the story, he has a scar on his cheek. That's a nice little thing. So I don't know. I like the character. I think it's the best squad mate. I have my problems with Jaal. Like, some of his lines are kind of cheesy, like stay strong and clear.
Yes, that's exactly it.
Yeah, some of the wordings are just, that's execution though. But so I think for character, I would give him a high rating.
So you're gonna go 6 on Jaal.
Yeah, I there are definitely room for improvement though. I just feel like,
holy shit. I gotta say, for a guy that's played as much Andromeda as I have, you just moved my rating on Jaal. Because I was gonna put him at a 4 or a 5, like as low as a 4. And I think you've maybe almost convinced me to go up to a 6 with you. I think you just brought up, some of the most key things, right? Like the companion quest, like facing down. He faces down the ugly part of the Angara, which is the Rokar. That's the Rokar leader that shoots him, and it sort of grazes him, and that's how he gets the scar. Like, Aksul is the name of the Rokar leader. Like, he faces down the ugly part of his society, of his species, when obviously the Angara are depicted as being like fairly welcoming, like fairly benevolent, sort of inhabitants of the Helios cluster. He faces down the ugly part of his society, which is not easy. Obviously, there's an analog there to real life sort of jingoism and things like that. I think that's very well done. I had a whole thing about it on stream when he has that moment of like, they are us, and he figures out what exaltation is, etc. What I really liked about Jaal was when you get towards the end of the game, towards the after his companion quest, there's a scene where early on he actually tells you that within the Resistance, even though he's well liked by his peers, that like his superiors don't necessarily trust him. Like he's not getting the promotions. He's not really given command the way that he thinks he should be. And then after you do his loyalty quest, he has a little scene with Ryder where he says, hey, like, guess what? Like, they just let me know that, like, I've been offered, like, command of, like, a special unit and, like, I'm going to be able to, like, do these covert missions and I'm going to be in charge and have command and all that stuff. And the first time I played it, I'm like, oh, shoot, am I going to have to, like, decide whether or not Jaal leaves? And Ryder's like, yeah, congratulations, that's great. He, like, we'll miss you. He's like, what are you talking about? Like, I'm not going anywhere. Like, I turned it down. Like, I rejected it because this is my home now. Like, doing what I'm doing with you guys is more important. I thought I needed the validation from the Resistance, but what I needed was to just, like, be a part of a team where I just felt appreciated and, like, everyone was family. And I thought that was a great moment for him because he seems like he has self-doubt. And it's nice to see him overcome that. So yeah, freaking heck. I didn't think I was going to go 6, but I'm going 6.
He's the best character on the team. I'm just saying.
I really thought it maybe would have been Drac, but no, I'm going to give him a 6.
Yeah. Romance is next?
Yeah. What do you give him on romance?
He's the second best male romance in the game. Here's the thing, though. I make fun because we can. I even forgot his name, but the fake Spanish guy, Mexican guy, whatever.
Reyes.
Yeah. So anyway, but we'll talk about that later. Jaal, I liked his romance. It's the sugary cinnamon roll versus just the plain pile of sugar.
Yep.
It had stakes, it had something, but it ends sweet. And there's like this weird, you bathe in a pool, and he has head boobs. I don't even know what it is. We can talk about the awful character design in a minute. But I mean, it was a sweet romance. It was one. It was just nice. It was nice. It's the Cullen. Liam would have been Cullen. Jaal was Cullen.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think he's the most popular companion romance for a reason. So yeah, I'm gonna give it. I'll give it a 5.
Oh wow, you're going high. Okay.
Yeah.
I'll probably give it a 4. I just thought some of the dialogue it's not bad. It's just not outstanding.
Yeah. It's not good.
Including in some of those scenes. And for that reason, I'll give it a 4.
I'll say that he calls you Darling One, right? It says something like that.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, Darling One. So Darling One is one of those, like, if Michael started calling me Darling One, I'd be like, ooh, that's kind of cringy. At the same time, I'm like,
yeah. Sure.
So it's like cringe at the same time. You're like, oh, we don't kind of like it. I can't take it seriously. At the same time, it's kind of cute.
It's kind of nice.
So that's why it is what it is. At the same, like, again, if Michael told me that, I would just laugh at him and then go, but thanks. You know, like it's dorky. Anyway, but he's a dork. Okay. Whatever. Let's. What were you gonna give him?
I gave him a 4. So all we have left is Execution. God damn, I really like the voice actor, but again, some of the dialogue choices to me just make me put my hand on my forehead. So I'm gonna give it a 4.
Yeah, I'm actually gonna go, despite everything I've done, a 3.
Oh, okay.
I love the voice actor. I completely get the dialogue. Oh my god, whoever designed the male Angara just needs to take a moment and reassess what they're doing with their life.
Yep.
I hate the female Angara work for some reason. The male Angara just looks stupid.
Yeah.
They just look
the width
stupid.
of the shoulders is ridiculous, and then they have, like, armpit testicles or chest testicles? Like, I don't know what the fuck you call them.
Chesticles. They got chesticles. It's weird. I don't get it. They got a weird concave.
Yeah.
Like, it's, you see, and for some reason they have a whole scene where, like, oh, we know you want to see him naked even when you're not in a romance with him.
Like,
and you're like, okay, that's weird. And it's so weird because you have, like, this weird chesticle thing, but then, like, a firmly sculpted ass. And you're like, what happened here? Where did you go? And the face looks so stupid, and he's pink. And it's not so much about, like, he's pink. He's just a terrible color of pink.
It makes no sense. Like, his arms and his shoulders and his chest, basically his upper anatomy, looks like a piece of IKEA furniture that someone didn't put together correctly and they just left it that way. Like, they just jammed stuff into the wrong slot and they're like, whatever, it stands up.
Yeah, and I hate it so much. And it's just like the romance scene when, like, you're both naked in a pool together. I'm like, this is a sweet scene and I understand whatever, but I do not want to see him naked. I just don't. See, I can see him from behind because at least that's, like, more human-like, but those testicles, they just, whatever female equivalent of a boner is, just, it's down.
You gave his romance a 5, you gave the execution a 3, you gave Cora's character a 3, and you gave the sex scene an 8, just to give you a summary on that, folks.
She has the best sex scene, though.
It's true.
It's true. I can't deny it.
If Solas's romance scene in Dragon Age 4 is not that good, somebody's going to revolt. Okay, time for the recap. Romance. I mean, you can romance everybody except for Drac. Who do you think who won the romance battle?
I think it was Drac. All right. I meant Joel.
It's absolutely Joel, yes. Combined score, he would have gotten, again, combined score would have been a 9 because you gave him 5, I gave him 4. PB of all things, because I gave her a 4, ends up second for romance because she would have had combined score of 7. Otherwise, Vetra and I guess Cora ties because you abstained and I gave her a 3.
Yeah.
Liam is last. Not surprising.
Yeah.
All right, time to take a guess. You can go from the bottom. Who do you think came in rock bottom last overall?
I don't think I did PB dirty, but I think I did enough where she's at the bottom.
Oh yeah, you did enough. She came in at the bottom. She came in with a 10 overall, so she's right at the bottom.
Okay.
Who do you think is second from the bottom?
Is it a tie? No, I'm gonna say Liam. Maybe a tie between Cora and him.
It is Liam. It is Liam.
Okay, then I would say Cora.
Yep, that's exactly right. So Liam at 11, Cora at a 15. So she's kind of like middle of the pack. Who do you think won the overall?
I mean, it has to be Joel, right? Is it Drac?
My boy Drac. I don't know what happened.
Oh,
no.
Okay.
It is a tie, which I think is so appropriate, honestly, because I thought it was Drac, and I know a lot of people would stand for Joel, so they both finished at 22. Honestly, it was probably your execution score that dropped Joel down to tie.
Because Joel looks stupid. I'll just say that. He looks stupid.
Yeah. So Drac, Joel, tie for number 1. Vetra then takes third, which I think is probably appropriate. I think this is probably in line with what most people would rate. However, here's a fun fact, real quick, because that's the recap. Pretty much does it for this episode. But real quick, fun fact. What do you think is the second low? Because, by the way, PB is now the lowest ranked character that we have ever done. Across Dragon Age or Mass Effect.
Is it Zevran?
So your guess on your second worst is Zevran. Okay, well, no. The second worst character ever is Liam. He's the second worst.
Okay.
Cora is the third worst character ever.
Wow.
They're all Andromeda. Well, there's an asterisk. Who do you think is after that? You're saying it's Zevran?
Maybe Oghren, but yeah.
I couldn't do Zevran that dirty. It is, in fact, Talus.
Yeah, all right.
So Talus is a 15, and Zevran... Oh, I'm sorry. No, Zevran is also a 15, so you were right. So they are all tied with Cora. So Cora, Zevran, Talus, and... Where's Oghren? Oghren is a 17 somehow, probably because I gave him something for performance. Yeah.
That was you. Can I add one thing since we're talking about Andromeda? Because I said Joel had the second best romance. I think Reyes has the best romance of Andromeda. There has plenty of problems, but there's a lot of the whole game is full of dorky, terrible dialogue. But at the very least, I appreciated, and maybe this is like I romance Solas and Fenris and Alistair, who wanted to leave me, so that says probably a lot about my character. But I appreciated that there was like this shady, like he was, he was just more interesting than the others, where he was kind of like, I'm a shady pirate guy. Like, oh, I like making out with shady pirate guys. And then you have like a nice moment on a balcony, and like, it's just a generally nice moment. And then you find out that he's like the kind of the big bag of the area, and you can choose to let him win or not. And then at the very end, like if you play his romance right, you can either say like, okay, well, this needs to change, it's over, or you can be like, look, you're a shady pirate guy, but I'm kind of into that. He's like, you know what? Thanks, I appreciate that. I like that they have that. I don't think it was executed the best, but I really liked the idea of it.
I will say, like Reyes, he's not my favorite, for that reason. But I will say, I always pick him over Sloane. Fun fact: I don't ever like to pick Sloane. I think I've only picked Sloane once.
I honestly, my playthrough, I didn't know what I was doing, so I accidentally picked Sloane, and the rest of the game, I was like, oh man, crap. Sloane has a terrible character design too. Okay, anyway. I gotta go at least. So, guys, Jordan, where can they find you?
They can find me at The Exalted March on YouTube, Instagram, and Twitter. Where can the folks find you, Katie?
Find me at Gildathon on YouTube and Twitter. Guys, with that, Darash Sharon.